that was bad. That was really, 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 really bad. Let's start with the positives. I like the Joyce stuff with her being the one to, get the final blow. I like that Henry was so manipulated that he still believed that the world was, a horrible place. Um, yeah, I don't know. Everything else is just not great to me. So, yeah, it's just not good. Mike and Will in season 4 promised to be together and to be a team going forward. And flash forward to season 5, and they spend maybe 5, 10 minutes together. At best, they're not ever together, and it's like they forgot everything that they said that they would do last season. Um, Will kind of gets sidelined in the final episode for some reason, despite him being the focus of most of the season. He has nothing to do, almost nothing to do. He saves Elle, I guess. He sees a little bit of Henry's past, I guess, and then he's just basically out of the episode until Mike imagines a potential boyfriend for Will who exists for exactly 2.5 seconds, and we don't see anything else of him. Right? So that's that. Um, Mike Wheeler is actually a nothing character. After season 1 and 2, he just becomes a horrible person, and he mistreats Elle and Will for season 3 and 4 for no reason. Um, he steps back into a leadership role for Volume 1, and then he does basically nothing for Volume 2 and the finale. It's insane. He just does nothing. For like most of season 5, season 3, season 4, like he just does nothing. It baffles me that like a character who was once so sweet and kind and was by Will's side and helped people and was willing to do anything for his friends just does absolutely nothing in like the finale and the episodes leading up to it. All right, so they it's so baffling. It's so baffling. You know what? Here's the thing. This show is said to be for the outcasts, and yet Lucas does not have a storyline on his own outside of Max. Robin and Vicky get together off screen. Will's boyfriend, if that is a real person and not just Mike's imagination, does not exist. He exists for 2.5 seconds. We don't see a handhold. We don't see a hug. We don't see a kiss. We don't see any of that. So Robin giving Will a speech about how a snowball becomes an avalanche, it means nothing. It doesn't mean anything because we don't get to see that. We don't get to see any of that, right? Will is the focus of this season, and yet his love life is treated like an afterthought, and that's just so weird and so gross and so disgusting. Mike is a nothing character, like I said. Robin and Vicky, if they're even together, because Robin mentioned something like moving on past overbearing relationships in the finale, so they might have even broken off screen. I don't know. It's so baffling how this show is said to be about the outcasts, and then it treats said outcasts like they're nothing, like they don't even matter. In my opinion, if you are a fan of Elle, Mike, or Will, you will not enjoy this finale. I didn't enjoy the finale for Elle because I think that her sacrificing herself and either being dead or faking being dead, if Mike's theory is right, and being separated from her friends and her family and being kind of alone for the rest of her life is not satisfying at all. Mike, again, is sad for apparently 18 months, and then he just kind of does, I don't know, he exists. So, if you were a fan of Mike being a brave leader in season 1 and 2, you're not getting your happy ending either, because again, he does next to nothing in his finale. If you're a fan of Will, well, guess what? His love story is basically off screen, if it happens at all, and isn't just a figment of Mike's imagination. Um, and he doesn't really get much to do in the final battle, like with everybody else. He's just separated for some reason. He has a conversation with Mike at the beginning of the episode, and it's like, we'll always be best friends, and that's it, and that's it. Which means that everything that they put Will through in this show was for the sole purpose of having him rejected. Because guess what? They had Will bond with Mike for all of season 2, be told it's not my fault you don't like girls in season 3. They had him make a painting to show how much he loved and cared for Mike, and reassured him for all of season 4 that his relationship with Al would be fine. And then they had him go through so much pain in the van scene, and in the surfer play, whatever pizza place, and then it just doesn't. The pain is for no reason. They could have had him get over Mike at any point in time between seasons 4 and 5. The 18-month times jump or whatever, because apparently they like 18 months. They could have had him get over Mike at any point. At any point in time, they could have had him get over Mike. And they just didn't. Between season 3 and 4, when he went to Lenora, when he was in another place, they could have had that happen. They could have had it happen at any point, but instead they dragged out this love story until the end of the show, and they did nothing with it. Right. Guess what? I forgot what I was going to say. Will. I was going to say something about Will. Yeah, I mean, it's so weird. It's so gross. I forgot what I was going to say. Oh my god, I had a thought. But this is just my raw reaction. Yeah, it's weird. Right, I remember now. So in episode, I think 5x5, they had Will, basically, he was still comparing Mike to Vicky, right? Which means, it implies that he still thought he had a shot with Mike. And then for some reason, less than 24 hours later, he's like, oh, Mike's my Tammy. He's like, Mike's my Tammy. He's just my crush. It doesn't matter. And he moves on. Like, Will has been in love with that boy basically forever. Probably since they were really small. But he's like, oh yeah, it was just a crush. And then he gets over it. And guess what? Noah Schnapp said that basically he had to fight the Duffers to add a scene to episode 8. And I'm gonna bet, I would bet money that the scene that he asked for them to add was the scene with Mike reassuring Will that they would always be best friends. Which means that more than likely the Duffer Brothers did not intend to have that scene in the episode, which means that Mike and Will would have had basically their final interaction in like 5x7 with them just nodding at each other and being like, oh yeah, and then that's it. That's all they would have had in the entire series. Forget Byler romantically. Is Byler even a thing platonically at this point? Are they even best friends? Because if they are, they don't seem like it. They don't interact at all. Like what do you mean? One of the relationship that basically in the first scene of the show, first or second scene of the show, the first like scene with Mike and Will alone is them, like with Will saying it was a 7. It was Will showing that he couldn't lie to Mike. The show was telling us that their relationship was special, and yet they don't interact at all in the final season. Basically, what kind of writing is that? That's not good writing. That's not good writing at all. And again, like, even if you didn't intend to put them together romantically, the fact that they don't even interact platonically for the most part is so weird. Why does Mike suddenly become a jerk in season 3? Why does he not want to hug Will in season 4? Why does Dustin say that Mike is always complaining about trying to call, like, because Joyce is on the line all the time, if that means nothing? Like, what was the point of Mike, the painting, paying off? Because it didn't pay off. It didn't pay off at all. Finn Wolfhard said, "Oh, the painting will pay off." The Duffer said that. Well, no, it didn't. No, it did not. If it did, it was the weakest payoff I've ever seen in my life. It was actually insane, and it's so bizarre, and I can't even. Oh yeah, I guess Kali died. Who cares? Who cares? She exists. She exists in a vacuum in the one bad episode of this show, and then she's one of the few characters who dies in the end. Nobody cares. There are no stakes. The characters are pitiful versions of who they once were, or what is it? I don't know. What the shells of who they once were. So yeah, they sideline Will. Mike is a nothing character. Elle gets a depressing ending. And those are the three characters who basically are supposed to be at the spotlight this season. Robin and Vicky get nothing in the epilogue, basically. I mean, if you're a Lucas and Max fan, or if you're a Joyce and Hopper fan, I guess you win. But if you're a fan of literally anyone else, or any of the big three that I just mentioned, they get nothing. The show started off with the boys playing together, and I guess it ends with the new kids playing together. So that's full circle, I guess. But I can't feel happy about that because some of the characters that I like got screwed over, and it's just so deeply upsetting. But hey, it's over. Stranger Things is over, for better or for worse. It's over. There's never going to be another new episode except for stuff that happened in the past. So that's fun, I guess. Or if they do a spin-off like 10 years in the future, I guess I probably won't be watching that because this is actually just so gross and weird, and it makes me feel yuck inside. And yeah, it's yeah, I don't know what they were thinking, at all. But it's over. I'm gonna just. It's yeah. I don't think I can ever rewatch the show because it just loses its way in season 3, I think, and it never fully regains what it originally was. Um, like I said, I like the stuff with Joyce and stuff with like Henry and Will having a moment, I guess. But yeah, it's just I don't know. I mean, Will is happy. Will is happy. He's happy he had a graduation. He allegedly has a boyfriend, so I'm happy for him because he's happy, and I'm happy that Mike is unhappy because he deserves to be unhappy. But from like a character standpoint, I feel so bad if you're a fan of Mike Wheeler because he genuinely regresses so much that it's actually not even funny. He goes from being one of the best characters in the first 2 seasons to just nothing. Nothing. He is nothing. He's worse than nothing. He's a bad friend and a bad boyfriend, and it's weird. But Will is happy. Joyce is happy. The other characters, who cares? Yeah, Violet didn't happen, which means that it's hardly any of the ships happened, right? They broke up Stancy, they broke up Jancy. They Malevolent is basically Bones. Basically, they are Bones, right? Because Elle is either missing or dead. There's no Byler. So yeah, if you didn't ship Lomax or Chopper, you just kind of lost, I guess. Sure, why not? We never saw Dustin. I assume is broken up with Susie, but also the show never tells us that. So yeah, I guess we just have to infer. Yeah, I'm really grossed out. I didn't have a good time. I'm glad I didn't go to see that in theaters, and I'm just kind of, yeah, I can't rewatch the show because every moment between Mike and Will always be tarnished in my head now because I remember season 3, and then I remember Will putting himself through all that pain in season 4, and then I remember them not interacting in season 5, and it's so nothing now. Everything is so nothing, and it's so sick to me because I love Will Byers. I love him. I love that character, and they focus on everybody else's story and what they're doing now, but for Will, oh no, he doesn't get anything. He gets a hypothetical possible boyfriend who doesn't have any lines, doesn't do anything remotely romantic with him, just kind of sits at him, and Will smiles a little bit. So we should be happy, I guess, because we got the bare minimum. After everything, after all they did to this character, they burned him, they sidelined him, they tormented him, and then he doesn't even get any kind of romantic satisfaction. We just have to imagine it. Mike has to imagine it. We don't even know if that's real. I'm grossed out. I'm so grossed out. I'm so unbelievably grossed out, and it ruins my 2026 because this show has meant so much to me for the past few years, and it just lost its way. It lost its way, and even if Byler would have been canon, I don't think I would have been fully happy if Elle was missing from her friends or gone. Yeah, there was no path forward where I would have been fully happy with her not being there. Yeah, and again, even if Byler is canon, right? If it was, I would have forgiven Mike for some of the stuff he said in season 3 or 4 if he was struggling with something inside. Volume 2 being a nothing burger would not have been fixed, but I would have forgiven at least season 3 and 4. But now apparently Mike is just that way. He's just a jerk for no reason. One day he just wakes up one day between season 2 and 3, and is like, I want to be a jerk to my best friend and my girlfriend, and we're just gonna have to live with that. We just have to live with it. We have to accept it. There's no reason. It just kind of happens. So yeah, I'm upset. If you can't tell, I'm upset. I'm disappointed. I'm angry. I'm a lot of things. Will Byers was done so dirty in this finale, and throughout this entire series, and Noah, who is a queer person himself, it just disappoints me that he was given that material, and he just kind of had to live with that. And it also disappoints me that Finn Wolfhard was given whatever that was, because he was given basically nothing for this final season. For season 3, 4, and 5, basically, he's just been given nothing repeatedly and repeatedly and repeatedly, and it feels like everyone's time was wasted. But you know what? It's whatever. The show's over. So yeah. Goodbye, Stranger Things. It was fun-ish knowing you, but now I'm just disappointed. So I'm always gonna love Will Byers, even if I don't really like his ending. So yeah.